What's up, team, and welcome to the Mettle Memo number 41. Today's topics include 1. Lesson learned, the race I didn't run and the system I'm using instead. 2. Tip of the week, follow the program. 3. What I am eating, meals and macros. And 4. Training and workouts, how I'm training through this injury. If you'd rather watch or listen, you could check out the YouTube version of this memo or the podcast version as well. If you want my weekly training program, which is completely free until 2026, every week I send out the Mettle weekly training plan to paid members. It's $6 a month, so it's like very minimal. Full 7-day layout, strength, conditioning, endurance, and recovery. PDFs you could either save or print, and adjustments for busy weeks or injury comebacks like I'm dealing with now. One mindset focus to keep your head straight while you train, and community of other people working on this program to rely on. If my free stuff helps you, this is where we actually get to train together with a clear plan. So let's dive into this. Lesson learned, the race I didn't run and the systems I'm using instead. When the centerpiece of your season disappears. So some lessons arrive quietly. This one did not. CIM was the anchor of my training year. It was a historically fast course, a 16-week build layered on top of a really demanding work season, 5 friends committed to racing beside me, and a clean year-end narrative, a new PR, decompression, and then reset into Tokyo and London. 10 days before the race, that entire plan changed with one decision. I am not running CIM. Medically and logically, it was straightforward. My hip was not right, and my risk profile was just too high. Psychologically, it hit harder. It felt like as if months of early mornings, long runs, and sacrifices have just been invalidated, but they weren't. But that's how it felt, and the feelings are often where bad decisions start if you don't really examine them. How I'm fitter than I thought turned into a liability. So the 16-week block was built under pressure, heavy workload, stress, imperfect recovery, and the fact that I stayed consistent became its own really point of pride. When the deal I was working on at work finally closed and the stress really dialed down, I could see my fitness more clearly. I realized that I was in better shape than I had given myself credit for, mainly due to my stress levels being too high during that work period. That realization can lead to one of two paths. Conservative, which is good. Let's consolidate this and progress gradually. Or reactive. I've been underperforming and I need to immediately train at the level I think I'm capable of. Well, I chose the second path, and that was a mistake. The 3 decisions that broke the block. Once I felt the extra fitness, I made 3 decisions that in isolation might have been manageable, but combined, they were not. So let's break it down. Number 1, I increased intensity overnight. So I did a lactate threshold test, which showed my true zones were actually faster than the paces I had been holding. That was extremely useful information. But instead of respecting the adaptation curve, I treated the test results like permission to upgrade my training intensity immediately. Number 2, I expanded hard across too many sessions. So I didn't just adjust one quality workout. I began pushing more runs to match the new zones, operating from the belief that I had been, quote, leaving performance on the table and I really needed to catch up. And 3, I spiked volume aggressively. I spent a week in Texas on a, quote, holiday, and it really disrupted my running schedule. I ran, but not enough, and my mileage dropped to around 30. The following week, I shot up to 60. I was supposed to run about 50-something during the week in Texas, and I ended up running 30, and then continued on with my plan as if nothing changed. In other words, I ran harder, I ran faster, and I ran more. 3 levers pulled at once on a body with 2 torn labrums coming off a stressful period. This isn't intelligent progressive overload. It's a structural weakness disguised as work ethic. The injury wasn't really random. It was actually quite predictable. The real battle was not in my hip. withdrawing from the race was not the most difficult part. The hardest part was what really arrived afterwards. Thoughts of you're soft. Everyone else would have just pushed through this. You wasted 4 months of training. These are not coaching thoughts. These are ego responses masquerading as toughness. My mood shifted. I was less patient. Small inconveniences felt bigger than they really were. I was present in the room, but not really present in my life. I spent a full Saturday with very low energy and self-pity, effectively discarding a full day that I could have used to recover, reflect, or connect. That day was more unacceptable, honestly, than the injury itself to me. You're not just grieving a race, you're grieving a narrative. So when I looked at it clearly, the loss wasn't just I didn't get to run CIM. It was I didn't get the story I had already written for myself. In that unwritten story, I had the finish time, a PR announcement, the clean, inspiring narrative, big work season, big race, and a happy ending. This psychological checkmark that says I proved something to myself. When the race was removed, the entire narrative collapsed. What remained was the realization that I had become overly attached to one outcome as validation. This is the opposite of really what I stand for. Long-term process, not single-day perfection. Authority requires alignment. If I tell people to love the process, I really have to confront the parts of me that only love it when the outcome cooperates. From end of the story to a structural plot twist. Once the emotional reaction settled down, I asked a more useful question. If this isn't the end to the story, then what kind of plot twist is it? See, a plot twist changes direction. It does not really erase what comes before. So let's look at the facts. The facts were the fitness from the block remains. The discipline required to train during a demanding work season remains. The data from the injury and testing is now clearer than before. So the injury is really feedback, not final judgment. Here is the feedback I'm taking seriously. 1, pacing. New threshold data is not a command to jump. It is a map for gradual progression. 2, planning. Deviations from the training plan in week 14 are not an invitation to just make it up in week 15 by doubling everything. Physiology. My hips and 2 torn labrums are not an excuse, but they are constraints. Constraints that are ignored eventually impose themselves. This forced me to upgrade my identity from, quote, athlete chasing the perfect arc to athlete building a sustainable system. And inside the paid Mettle weekly training, I'm breaking this lesson down into my actual weekly training plan, how I'm adjusting volume, pacing, and the rest in real time so you have a clear 7-day structure of how to apply it to yourself. This is where lessons turn from story into a system. So, a framework for when your perfect plan collapses. This applies beyond marathons. It shows up with launches, promotions, relationships, creative projects, anything that you can wrap a narrative around. Here's the framework that I am using. 1, name the real loss. Not just the race is gone, but really accurately. The version of myself I wanted to be on that day is gone for now. Once you name it, now you can address it. If you don't, you're chasing ghosts. 2, separate the work from the outcome. List what actually remains. Your base fitness, your improved discipline, your upgraded stress tolerance, your understanding of where you really overreached. The work is still there. The outcome is delayed or just redirected. 3, exact, precise feedback instead of just global judgment. So feedback sounds like this. I changed too many variables at once. I ignored early signs from my body, and I let an external narrative, so the PR, the recap, and image, drive internal decisions. Now, judgment, worse, sounds like this. I'm not built for this. I wasted my time. I'll never get there. Feedback creates adjustments. Judgment creates quitters. Number 4, write the next chapter with intention. You decide what this event means. It could mean tuition you paid to train smarter for the next block, a line in the sand between short-term ego and long-term development, and evidence that your system needs refinement, not abandonment. If you don't assign meaning consciously, you'll default to the least helpful one. The lesson I'm taking into London. So for me, the core lesson is this. Your value as an athlete and as a person is not measured by a single race. It is revealed by how you respond when your plans fail. I think there was a Mike Tyson quote that, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. My immediate response to CIM was imperfect. I let frustration lead me for a day, and I let my ego speak first. The corrective response is where real growth lives. So that's in humility, the acknowledgement that I created this risk profile myself, patience, accept that sustainable performance is measured in years, not just like one finish time, compassion, speak to myself the way I would to an athlete that I coach or a friend of mine, not an enemy that I want to punish, and structure. Build a training and life system that reflects what I say and I believe. So sub 3 in London remains the goal. The method, though, changes. So full rest days are non-negotiable, not earned after the fact. Threshold changes are introduced progressively, not impulsively. And training is designed to coexist with my marriage, my family, and the work I'm so called to do, not compete with them. The storybook CIM ending is gone. That's true. In its place is something much more valuable, a clear standard for how I will train and live. If you're reading this, or you're listening or watching this with your own version of a canceled race, a collapsed plan, or a missed milestone, the question I would ask you is the same I asked myself. Will you let a broken narrative define you, or will you use it to build a better system? Part 2, tip this week, follow the program. High performers rarely fail because the plan is bad. They fail because they don't follow the plan they already have. This block showed me how quickly a solid program can fall apart while you're, quote, upgrading it midstream, adding pace here, extra mileage there, changing sessions based on how I felt in the moment. The problem wasn't really lack of effort. It was a lack of respect for the structure that I had already committed to. This week's operating rule is simple. If you trust the goal, you have to trust the program that gets you there. Here's the framework I'm taking into the next block. 1, decide once. Do the thinking before the emotions show up. Choose your plan, your key sessions, and your weekly mileage ceiling. Write them down somewhere very visible. Once they're set, your job is to execute, not constantly negotiate with yourself after a good run, a bad day at work, or a surge of motivation from social media. Decide once means you trust your calmer, long-term brain more than your hyped-up race brain. Number 2, honor the boring weeks, the weeks where nothing dramatic happens. Steady mileage, repeat workouts, familiar paces. That's where durability is built. If every week feels like a test, a PR attempt, or just a hero workout, you're not really training anymore. You're just gambling. Boring weeks are a feature, not a flaw. When in doubt, now I'm asking, does this week look repeatable? If the answer is no, it's probably too aggressive. Number 3, don't add, only adjust. When life hits, if that's travel, if that's stress, if that's missed runs, the instinct is to cram in more, stretch for the long run, stack workouts closer together, or turn easy runs into tempo runs. We all know, every one of you guys have been there. And that's exactly how good plans break. So there's a new rule. I don't add volume or intensity, I only adjust. That may look like backing off 5 or 10 seconds per mile, dropping one set instead of skipping the entire session, or swapping a workout for easy miles if I'm truly depleted. Adjustment, do not overload. And lastly, number 4, treat rest days as part of the plan, not a leak. Rest days to me used to feel like I really lost ground. Now I see them as payment that makes the adaptation really stick. If I keep erasing rest days because I'm anxious about fitness or chasing that feeling, I'm not following the program anymore. I'm following my emotions. So one simple check-in I use. Do I want to train today because it's on the plan or because I'm scared of losing fitness? If it's fear-driven, I'm resting. If you trust your goal, you have to trust the roadmap that gets you there. This week's challenge for you is pick your plan, commit to it for the full block, and let consistency, not emotion or FOMO, decide how you want to train. Every week, paid members receive the weekly training plan, a complete 7-day layout of how to train that week: strength, conditioning, endurance, and recovery, real-world adjustments for busy weeks or injury comebacks, and one mindset focus to anchor your training. The free memo is where I really show the lesson. The paid memo is where we turn that into your actual week. Practical tip this week. Tonight, take 5 minutes and do this on paper or do it in your notes app, whatever is easiest, but write these down. Write your next 7 days with one clear job for each day, specifically around training. So let's say strength, an easy run, long run, rest, etc. Now circle your rest days, so they are non-negotiable as your, quote, hardest session. And then lastly, set one rule that you'll follow when life hits. So for example, if I miss a session, I don't move it. I just get back on the plan the next day. That's what it looks like to actually follow the program, not just have one. Part 3, what I am eating. Below are pictures and macros of food I enjoyed cooking and eating from the past week. First up, we had cod, rice medley, capers, tomatoes, sourdough bread, and butter. Approximate macros: calories 638, protein 38 grams, fat 18 grams, and net carbs 77 grams. Next up, we had grilled chicken, sweet potato, salad with sunflower seeds. Calories are 556, protein 59 grams, it was a big piece of chicken, and fat 22 grams. Net carbs 23 grams. Now, don't laugh at this one. Try it. Ground beef, sweet potatoes, and maple syrup. It is the maple syrup, I'm telling you, is a key. It is a must for this. Maybe throw a little cottage cheese if you're feeling it. But calories 436, protein 39 grams, fat 17, and net carbs 36 grams. Part 4, how I am training. Complete shift in training. I'm recovering from this injury and have to get that engine back in shape before I can start the London Marathon training block. So this is what my plan looks like right now, how I'm personally training during this injury. So Monday, full rest day, sauna and cold plunge only. That is it. Tuesday, run 25 to 30 minutes and then focus on a leg strength day with very specific run strength exercises at the end. Wednesday, we're doing a 1 hour cycle with interval sprints in that. Cycling doesn't hurt it at all. Then following that, we're going to do an upper body strength. Thursday, run 30 to 35 minutes with another emphasis on lower body and more posterior chain. That being like my glutes, hamstrings, calves. Friday, upper body strength only, no cardio. Saturday, about a 2.5 to 3 hour cycle. Could be 50 miles-ish. Sunday, we run again for another 30 minutes and then do an elliptical for about like 25 to 30 minutes, which I used to be anti-elliptical because, frankly, I didn't really go on it. And then I went on it and I really pushed it, and it's actually an incredible piece of equipment. So if you're feeling it, do the elliptical, but really push. So my total running miles are around 9 to 10. The total time cycling is about 4 hours. And total strength time is about 5 hours. I have a couple different lifting programs. If you want to go purchase one, use the discount code MEMO. You get 20% off. Otherwise, that's it, guys, for Mettle Memo number 41. Enjoy your week. Happy training.